21 black R&B singers, whose careers were changed by serious illness or injury. What happens when the voices that once filled arenas are suddenly weakened by cancer, kidney failure, devastating strokes, or life-changing injuries? Behind the glittering awards and timeless songs, many black R&B legends endured private battles that transformed their careers forever. Some returned to the stage in wheelchairs. Others recorded while fighting for every breath, and a few were forced to walk away just as their music was reaching millions. Today, Golden Black Legends reveals 21 unforgettable singers whose journeys were changed by serious illness or injury, but whose legacies refused to disappear. Before we begin, subscribe, turn on notifications, and tell us in the comments which artist's story affected you most. Stay until the end, because these emotional stories prove that even when the body weakens, a legendary voice can remain immortal. Teddy Pendergrass. Before tragedy changed the course of his life, Teddy Pendergrass stood at the very peak of R&B, rising to fame as the unmistakable lead singer of Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes before launching a hugely successful solo career in 1977. Pendergrass became one of the defining voices of soul music. Albums such as Teddy Pendergrass, Life is a Song Worth Singing, and TP produced timeless hits including Close the Door, Love TKO, and Turn Off the Lights. By the early 1980s, he had sold millions of records, filled arenas across America, and earned the nickname the Black Elvis from devoted fans who admired both his commanding stage presence and emotional vocal power. His concerts, especially his famous women-only shows, became legendary events that cemented him as one of the era's greatest performers. Everything changed on the night of March 18, 1982. While driving his Rolls-Royce in Philadelphia, Pendergrass lost control of the vehicle and crashed into a tree. The devastating accident fractured his spinal cord, leaving him permanently paralyzed from the chest down. At just 31 years old, one of R&B's brightest stars suddenly faced a future that seemed impossible to imagine. For months, fans wondered whether he would ever sing again, while Pendergrass began the difficult process of adapting to life in a wheelchair. Remarkably, he refused to let the injury define him. After years of rehabilitation, Pendergrass returned to recording and released Love Language in 1984. His comeback reached an emotional peak in 1985 when he appeared at the historic Live Aid concert in Philadelphia. As he was wheeled onto the stage, more than 90,000 people welcomed him with a standing ovation that remains one of the most touching moments in music history. Although he could no longer perform with the physical energy that once electrified audiences, his voice retained the warmth and emotional depth that had made him famous. In later years, Pendergrass became an advocate for people living with spinal cord injuries, establishing the Teddy Pendergrass Alliance and inspiring countless individuals facing similar challenges. While his accident dramatically changed the trajectory of his career, it never diminished his influence. Instead, his story became one of extraordinary resilience. Teddy Pendergrass proved that true greatness is not measured solely by chart success or sold-out concerts, but by the courage to rebuild a meaningful life after unimaginable loss. His legacy continues to inspire generations of music lovers around the world. Curtis Mayfield. Curtis Mayfield built one of the most influential careers in American music long before tragedy forever changed his life. Emerging as the leader of the Impressions during the 1960s, he became a powerful voice of hope and social change through classics such as People Get Ready, Keep on Pushing, and We're a Winner. As a solo artist, Mayfield reached even greater heights with the groundbreaking 1972 soundtrack for Superfly, an album that blended unforgettable melodies with sharp commentary on poverty, addiction, and urban life. Songs like Freddy's Dead and the title track became defining moments in soul and funk history, while Mayfield earned widespread respect as one of the greatest singer-songwriters of his generation. Then on August 13, 1990, everything changed in a matter of seconds. While preparing to perform an outdoor concert in Brooklyn, strong winds caused a lighting tower to collapse onto the stage. The heavy structure struck Mayfield, directly causing catastrophic injuries that left him paralyzed from the neck down. The accident instantly ended his touring career and appeared to silence one of soul music's most important voices forever. For many artists, such a devastating injury would have marked the end of creative expression. Curtis Mayfield refused to accept that outcome. Confined to a wheelchair and unable to stand, Mayfield developed a remarkable method of recording music. Because he could not remain upright long enough to sing, producers recorded his vocals one line at a time while he lay flat on his back to breathe comfortably. The painstaking process required extraordinary patience, but Mayfield remained determined to finish what would become his final studio album, New World Order, released in 1996. The record received widespread praise not only for its musical quality, but also for the extraordinary perseverance behind its creation. Although he never regained the ability to perform live, Mayfield's influence continued to grow. Younger generations of musicians sampled his recordings, covered his songs, and cited him as a major inspiration across soul, R&B, hip-hop, and pop music. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice, once with the Impressions and again as a solo artist, recognizing the lasting impact of his remarkable career. Curtis Mayfield passed away in 1999, but his legacy extends far beyond his recordings. His story stands as one of music's greatest examples of resilience, proving that even after life-changing injury, creativity and determination can continue to inspire the world. Aretha Franklin. For more than half a century, Aretha Franklin stood as the undisputed queen of soul, inspiring generations with one of the greatest voices ever recorded. From unforgettable classics like Respect, Think, Chain of Fools, and You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman, she became far more than a singer. She became a cultural icon. With 18 Grammy Awards, more than 75 million records sold worldwide, and her historic induction as the first woman into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1987, Franklin's influence stretched far beyond R&B. Even in her 70s, audiences still packed venues hoping to witness her extraordinary voice live. Behind the scenes, however, her health was becoming increasingly fragile. In 2010, Franklin underwent surgery for an undisclosed illness, beginning years of speculation about her condition. While many rumors circulated, her family later confirmed she had been battling a pancreatic neuroendocrine tumor, a rare form of cancer different from the more common pancreatic cancer. Despite numerous hospitalizations, Franklin rarely discussed her illness publicly, choosing dignity and privacy over media attention. As her condition worsened, touring became increasingly difficult. She began canceling performances more frequently, though she remained determined to appear whenever possible. In 2017, Franklin announced she would retire from regular touring while still planning occasional special performances. It was a difficult decision for an artist who had spent decades commanding concert stages around the world, but she understood that her health could no longer keep pace with demanding travel schedules. On August 16, 2018, Aretha Franklin passed away at the age of 76. Although serious illness gradually changed the final chapter of her career, it never diminished her extraordinary legacy. Her recordings continue to influence singers across gospel, soul, pop, and R&B, while her unmistakable voice remains a benchmark of vocal excellence. Franklin may have stepped away from the stage because of illness, but she never lost the admiration of millions who still consider her the greatest soul singer of all time. Ray Charles. Ray Charles spent his entire life overcoming challenges that would have ended most careers. After losing his eyesight to glaucoma during childhood, he refused to let blindness define his future. Instead, he revolutionized American music by blending gospel, blues, jazz, country, and rhythm and blues into an entirely new sound. Songs such as Georgia on My Mind, Hit the Road, Jack, What Did I Say, and I Can't Stop Loving You transformed him into one of the most influential musicians of the 20th century. Over a career spanning nearly 60 years, Charles won 17 Grammy Awards and inspired countless artists across multiple genres. Even after overcoming heroin addiction during the 1960s, Charles faced another battle later in life. In the early 2000s, chronic liver disease began affecting his overall health. Although he continued recording and making selected public appearances, his demanding touring schedule gradually became impossible to maintain. Friends and colleagues admired his determination to keep creating music despite increasing physical weakness. Rather than retiring completely, Charles devoted much of his remaining energy to recording projects that required less travel while allowing him to continue doing what he loved most. His final masterpiece became Genius Loves Company, a remarkable collection of duets featuring artists including Norah Jones, Elton John, Willie Nelson, B.B. King, Bonnie Raitt, and James Taylor. Sadly, Charles never witnessed the album's extraordinary success. Released after his death, it won 8 Grammy Awards including Album of the Year, introducing his timeless artistry to a new generation of listeners. Ray Charles passed away on June 10, 2004, at the age of 73 from complications related to liver disease. Although illness gradually slowed his career, it never extinguished his passion for music. His resilience, innovation, and unmistakable voice permanently changed the landscape of popular music. Even today, Ray Charles remains one of the greatest examples of how extraordinary talent can continue shining despite overwhelming physical challenges. Sharon Jones. Sharon Jones proved that success has no expiration date. Before becoming one of the most respected voices in modern soul music, she spent years working as a corrections officer, bank security guard, and armored truck employee while chasing her dream of becoming a professional singer. Record labels repeatedly rejected her, believing classic soul music no longer had commercial appeal. Everything changed when she joined Daptone Records and formed Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings. Through relentless touring and electrifying live performances, she helped revive traditional soul music, earning worldwide praise with albums including 100 Days, 100 Nights, and Give the People What They Want. Just as her career reached its highest point, devastating news arrived. In 2013, Jones was diagnosed with stage 2 pancreatic cancer. The diagnosis forced her to postpone tours, delay album releases, and focus entirely on surgery and chemotherapy. Fans feared they had seen the last of one of soul music's most energetic performers. Yet Jones refused to surrender. She attacked her treatment with remarkable determination and returned to the stage after months of recovery, delivering performances filled with the same passion and joy that had made audiences fall in love with her music. Her inspiring fight against cancer became the subject of the acclaimed documentary Miss Sharon Jones, which honestly portrayed both the physical and emotional challenges of balancing treatment with an active music career. The film revealed not only her courage but also her unwavering belief that performing remained an essential part of who she was. Sadly, the cancer eventually returned and spread despite continued treatment. Sharon Jones passed away on November 18, 2016, at the age of 60. Although illness shortened the final years of her career, it never diminished her spirit or her impact on soul music. Today, she is remembered as a symbol of perseverance, proving that determination, talent, and passion can shine brightly even in the face of life's greatest challenges. Billy Preston. Billy Preston's remarkable career placed him alongside some of the greatest musicians in history. A gifted keyboard prodigy, he began performing gospel music as a child before working with Little Richard, Ray Charles, Sam Cooke, Eric Clapton, the Rolling Stones, and the Beatles. His extraordinary talent earned him the nickname the Fifth Beatle, while his own solo career produced major hits including Nothing from Nothing, Outer Space, and Will It Go Round in Circles. His distinctive keyboard style became one of the defining sounds of soul, R&B, rock, and gospel during the 1970s. During the final years of his career, Preston quietly battled serious health problems. Chronic kidney disease gradually affected both his personal life and professional schedule. Frequent medical treatments forced him to reduce touring, although he continued recording and collaborating whenever his condition allowed. Despite growing physical limitations, friends often spoke about his unwavering optimism and determination to remain connected to music. In 2002, Preston underwent a kidney transplant that initially offered hope for recovery. However, additional complications followed in the years that followed, making regular performances increasingly difficult. His health continued to decline until November 2005, when he suffered respiratory failure and fell into a prolonged coma. Fans around the world closely followed updates, hoping one of music's most beloved keyboard players would recover. Billy Preston passed away on June 6, 2006 at the age of 59 after complications related to kidney disease. Although illness dramatically changed the final chapter of his career, it never erased his enormous influence on modern music. His keyboard performances helped shape countless classic recordings, while his own songs remain staples of R&B and soul playlists. Preston's extraordinary musicianship continues to inspire performers decades later, proving that although serious illness may have shortened his time on stage, it could never diminish the timeless legacy he left behind. Natalie Cole. Natalie Cole spent her life balancing extraordinary expectations with remarkable personal determination. As the daughter of legendary entertainer Nat King Cole, she inherited one of the most recognizable names in American music. Rather than relying on her father's legacy, she built an impressive career of her own, dominating the R&B charts during the 1970s with hits such as This Will Be, Inseparable, and Our Love. Her rich voice, sophisticated stage presence, and natural charisma quickly established her as one of the era's leading female performers. After overcoming well-publicized struggles with substance addiction during the 1980s, Cole achieved one of the greatest comebacks in music history with her 1991 album Unforgettable. With Love, which won multiple Grammy Awards and sold millions of copies worldwide. Just as she had rebuilt her career, another challenge emerged. Natalie contracted hepatitis C, likely resulting from drug use decades earlier. The virus remained undetected for years before eventually causing severe kidney damage. By the late 2000s, her health had deteriorated to the point where touring became increasingly difficult. In 2009, she underwent a successful kidney transplant, giving fans hope that she would once again return to full strength. Although she continued recording and made selected appearances, her performance schedule became far less demanding as she focused on recovery. In interviews, Cole spoke openly about living with chronic illness, hoping her story would encourage others to seek early medical treatment. She became an advocate for organ donation and hepatitis awareness, using her personal experience to educate the public. Despite moments of renewed optimism, ongoing medical complications continued to affect her health during the final years of her life. Natalie Cole passed away on December 31, 2015, at the age of 65 due to complications associated with idiopathic pulmonary arterial hypertension, which developed after years of serious medical challenges. Although illness significantly altered the final chapter of her remarkable career, it never overshadowed her resilience or extraordinary talent. Her ability to overcome addiction, rebuild her reputation, and continue creating meaningful music despite declining health remains one of the most inspiring stories in modern R&B history. Today, her voice continues to captivate audiences, ensuring that both her artistry and her courage will never be forgotten. Bobby Womack. Few artists experienced as many personal triumphs and hardships as Bobby Womack. Throughout a career spanning more than 5 decades, he established himself as one of soul music's most gifted singers, songwriters, and guitarists. Womack wrote classics, including It's All Over Now, later made famous by the Rolling Stones, while his own recordings, such as Across 110th Street, If You Think You're Lonely Now, and Woman's Gotta Have It, became defining R&B hits. His unmistakable voice and deeply emotional songwriting earned him respect across generations, influencing artists from soul and gospel to hip-hop and modern R&B. Behind the success, however, Womack's health gradually began to decline. During the 2000s, he faced multiple serious medical conditions that dramatically affected his career. He was diagnosed with colon cancer, underwent surgery, and later revealed he had been diagnosed with early-stage Alzheimer's disease. Although the Alzheimer's diagnosis raised concerns about his memory, Womack remained determined to continue making music while he still could. Rather than quietly disappearing from public life, he embraced every opportunity to create, believing that music remained an essential part of his identity. His remarkable comeback arrived in 2012 with The Bravest Man in the Universe, produced by Damon Albarn of Blur and Gorillaz. The critically acclaimed album reminded listeners that Womack's emotional depth and vocal power remained intact despite his declining health. Critics praised the record as one of the finest achievements of his later career, introducing his music to a younger audience while reaffirming his legendary status. Unfortunately, years of serious illness eventually took their toll. Bobby Womack passed away on June 27, 2014, at the age of 70. Although his final years were marked by cancer, memory loss, and other health challenges, he never completely abandoned his passion for songwriting and recording. Instead, he demonstrated extraordinary resilience, continuing to create meaningful music while confronting illnesses that would have ended many other careers. His legacy extends far beyond his own recordings, living on through the countless artists inspired by his songwriting honesty and unmistakable soul. Melvin Franklin. Melvin Franklin possessed one of the most recognizable bass voices in music history. As a founding member of the Temptations, his rich, commanding vocals became an essential part of the legendary Motown group's unmistakable sound. While fellow members often took the lead, Franklin's powerful bass anchored timeless classics including My Girl, Ain't Too Proud to Beg, Papa Was a Rolling Stone, and Just My Imagination. For more than 3 decades, his deep voice and warm stage presence helped transform the Temptations into one of the most successful vocal groups of all time, earning multiple Grammy Awards and a place in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, Franklin spent much of his later career battling serious health problems. He suffered from rheumatoid arthritis, a painful autoimmune disease that progressively damaged his joints and severely limited his mobility. Despite constant pain, he refused to leave the Temptations, continuing to perform with the group whenever his condition allowed. Touring became increasingly difficult as the disease worsened, requiring frequent medical treatment and making even simple movements on stage physically exhausting. Complications continued to mount during the early 1990s. Franklin experienced seizures, developed diabetes, related health issues, and faced additional circulatory problems that further weakened his body. Yet his determination remained extraordinary. Rather than retiring immediately, he continued recording and appearing with the Temptations, unwilling to disappoint fans who had supported him throughout his career. Fellow group members often admired his courage, noting that he rarely complained despite enduring constant physical discomfort. Eventually, his declining health made performing impossible. Melvin Franklin passed away on February 23, 1995, at the age of 52, following complications related to multiple chronic illnesses. His death marked the loss of one of Motown's most distinctive voices. Although disease gradually forced him away from the stage, it never diminished the influence of his remarkable talent. Franklin's unforgettable bass vocals remain one of the defining elements of the Temptations' greatest recordings, ensuring that his contribution to soul music continues to inspire listeners decades after his passing. His story is a powerful reminder that extraordinary dedication often persists even when the body can no longer keep pace with the passion inside. Isaac Hayes. Isaac Hayes changed the sound of soul music forever. As a singer, songwriter, producer, and composer, he helped shape the legendary Stax Records era before launching an extraordinary solo career. His groundbreaking albums, Hot Buttered Soul, Black Moses, and the Academy Award-winning soundtrack for Shaft redefined what soul music could become, blending orchestral arrangements, extended compositions, and deeply emotional storytelling. Hayes became the first African American to win the Academy Award for Best Original Song, while his unmistakable baritone voice earned admiration from audiences around the world. Even decades later, he remained active through recording, acting, and voice work, introducing himself to younger generations as the unforgettable chef on South Park. During the final years of his career, however, serious health issues gradually began limiting his professional activities. In 2006, Hayes suffered a stroke that significantly affected his speech movement and overall stamina. Although he showed determination during rehabilitation and made encouraging progress, the physical demands of touring and regular recording became increasingly difficult. Public appearances grew less frequent as he focused primarily on recovery and spending time with his family. Despite these challenges, Hayes never completely lost his passion for music. Friends and colleagues frequently described his optimism and determination to regain his strength. Even while recovering, he continued discussing future creative projects and remained deeply connected to the industry that had defined his life for more than 4 decades. His influence extended far beyond his own recordings, with countless artists sampling his work and crediting him as one of soul music's greatest innovators. On August 10, 2008, Isaac Hayes passed away at the age of 65 after suffering another stroke. His death ended an extraordinary career that had transformed R&B, soul, and film music forever. Although illness significantly changed his final years, it never diminished the respect he earned as one of the genre's true pioneers. Hayes leaves behind a timeless catalog that continues to inspire musicians across generations, proving that even when health forced him away from the spotlight, his musical legacy remained as powerful and influential as ever. Minnie Riperton. Few singers in R&B history possessed a voice as extraordinary as Minnie Riperton's. Blessed with an astonishing 5-octave vocal range and an effortless ability to reach the whistle register, she became one of the most unique vocalists of the 1970s. Although music lovers remember her best for the timeless ballad Lovin' You, Riperton built a respected career through albums such as Perfect Angel, Come to My Garden, and Adventures in Paradise. Her elegant blend of soul jazz and pop earned widespread acclaim, while fellow musicians admired her remarkable technique and emotional delivery. At the height of her success, she appeared destined for an even greater future. That future changed dramatically in 1976 when Riperton was diagnosed with breast cancer. By the time doctors discovered the disease, it had already spread, forcing her to undergo a radical mastectomy. Despite the devastating diagnosis, she refused to disappear from public life. Instead of quietly ending her career, Riperton continued recording, performing, and promoting breast cancer awareness at a time when many public figures rarely discussed the illness openly. Her courage inspired countless women to seek early detection and regular medical examinations. Although intensive treatment allowed her to continue working, her health gradually declined over the following years. Concert schedules became increasingly difficult to maintain, and recording sessions had to be carefully planned around medical care. Nevertheless, Riperton remained committed to her fans, delivering performances whenever her strength allowed. She also participated in public awareness campaigns, determined to use her fame to educate others about a disease that affected millions of women. Minnie Riperton passed away on July 12, 1979, at just 31 years old. While her illness dramatically shortened both her life and career, it never overshadowed the beauty of her music. Her influence can still be heard in generations of singers, including Mariah Carey, Ariana Grande, and countless contemporary R&B vocalists who cite her remarkable range as an inspiration. Though cancer changed the course of her career, Riperton's voice remains timeless, reminding listeners that true artistry can leave an everlasting impact even when life is tragically brief. Betty Wright achieved success at an age when most artists are still searching for their first opportunity. Born in Miami, she recorded her breakthrough hit "Clean Up Woman" at only 17 years old, instantly becoming one of the brightest young stars in soul and R&B. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, Wright continued releasing memorable songs including "Tonight Is the Night", "No Pain, No Gain", and "After the Pain." Her powerful voice, heartfelt songwriting, and energetic performances earned multiple gold records, while her influence extended far beyond her own career. She mentored younger artists, worked as a producer, and remained an important figure in contemporary R&B for decades. Unlike many singers from her generation, Wright successfully adapted to changing musical styles without losing her identity. She continued touring, performing at festivals, mentoring rising talent, and appearing on television well into the 2000s. Her passion for music never faded, making her sudden health decline particularly heartbreaking for longtime fans. In early 2020, concern grew after fellow singer Chaka Khan publicly asked fans to pray for Wright, revealing that she was facing serious health challenges. Although Wright and her family chose to keep most medical details private, it was later confirmed that she had been battling cancer. Even during this difficult period, she remained connected to family, friends, and the music community, receiving an outpouring of support from fellow artists whose careers she had influenced. Betty Wright passed away on May 10, 2020, at the age of 66. Her death marked the loss of one of R&B's most respected voices and a woman who had spent more than 5 decades contributing to American music. While serious illness brought an end to her remarkable career, it never diminished her legacy. Her recordings continue to inspire singers across generations, while her work behind the scenes helped shape the careers of many younger performers. Betty Wright's story is not simply one of talent, but of perseverance, generosity, and unwavering dedication to music until the very end. Johnny Adams. Johnny Adams earned the nickname the Tan Canary because of his remarkably smooth voice and extraordinary vocal flexibility. Although he never achieved the mainstream fame of some of his contemporaries, Adams became one of New Orleans' most respected soul singers, blending gospel, blues, jazz, and R&B into a style that critics admired for its emotional depth. Songs such as "Release Me", "Reconsider Me", and "After All the Good Is Gone" established him as a master interpreter whose recordings showcased both technical brilliance and heartfelt expression. Over a career spanning more than 4 decades, Adams built a loyal following that appreciated his consistency rather than chart success. As he entered the final years of his career, Adams began facing serious health problems. He was diagnosed with prostate cancer, an illness that gradually weakened his body and made touring increasingly difficult. Known throughout his career for maintaining a demanding performance schedule, He reluctantly began reducing live appearances as treatment, and declining strength made travel more challenging. Even so, Adams remained deeply devoted to music, continuing to record and perform whenever his condition allowed. Unlike many artists who publicly documented every stage of their illness, Adams chose a quieter path. He spent much of his final period away from the spotlight, focusing on family, close friends, and preserving the dignity that had always defined his career. Fans noticed fewer concert appearances, but his love for singing never disappeared. Those who worked with him remembered that even while battling cancer, he remained humble, gracious, and determined to continue sharing his remarkable voice whenever possible. Johnny Adams passed away on September 14, 1998, at the age of 66. Although illness gradually brought his performing career to an end, his influence on Southern soul music remains profound. Many musicians continue to regard him as one of the greatest vocalists, never to receive the mainstream recognition his talent deserved. His career may have been changed by serious illness, but his recordings continue to introduce new listeners to one of the finest voices New Orleans ever produced. Luther Ingram. Luther Ingram may forever be associated with one unforgettable song, but his influence on Southern soul extended far beyond a single hit. His signature recording, "If Loving You Is Wrong, I Don't Want to Be Right," released in 1972, became an international success, reaching the top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100 and earning lasting recognition as one of the defining soul recordings of its era. Ingram's passionate vocals and deeply emotional delivery made him a favorite among R&B audiences, while his songwriting talents earned respect throughout the music industry. Even after his biggest commercial success, he continued recording, writing songs, and performing for loyal fans across the United States. As the years passed, however, serious health issues gradually reshaped his career. Ingram developed chronic kidney disease, eventually requiring regular dialysis treatments to manage his condition. The demanding medical schedule made touring increasingly difficult, forcing him to cancel appearances and significantly reduce live performances. For an artist whose reputation had been built on connecting directly with audiences, stepping away from the stage became one of the most painful decisions of his life. Despite declining health, Ingram never completely abandoned music. Whenever his physical condition permitted, he continued writing songs, participating in recording sessions, and remaining connected to the soul community that had supported him throughout his career. Friends often described his quiet determination and positive attitude, noting that he rarely allowed illness to define his identity. Although his public appearances became less frequent, his passion for music remained unchanged. Luther Ingram passed away on March 19, 2007 at the age of 69 after years of declining health. While serious illness dramatically altered the final chapter of his career, it never erased the emotional power of his music. His signature recordings continue to be covered by artists across multiple genres, ensuring that new generations discover the heartfelt voice that once helped define classic Southern soul. His story serves as a reminder that even when illness limits an artist's ability to perform, great music continues to live long after the final curtain falls. Don Covay. Don Covay was one of the most influential figures in rhythm and blues, even if his name never became as famous as many artists who recorded his songs. A gifted singer-songwriter and producer, Covay helped shape the sound of soul music during the 1960s and 1970s. His biggest recording, "Seesaw," became an R&B classic, while his songwriting talents reached an even wider audience. He wrote "Mercy, Mercy," later covered by the Rolling Stones, and composed songs recorded by legends including Aretha Franklin, Wilson Pickett, and Otis Redding. Throughout a career spanning more than 4 decades, Covay earned enormous respect from fellow musicians for his distinctive voice and remarkable ability to write emotionally powerful songs. In 1992, however, his life changed dramatically when he suffered a severe stroke. The medical emergency affected his speech mobility and overall physical strength, making it nearly impossible to continue performing at the level audiences had come to expect. Recovery proved slow and challenging, forcing Covay to step away from the demanding touring schedule that had defined much of his career. While he occasionally remained involved in songwriting and studio work, the stroke effectively ended his years as an active live performer. Despite these limitations, Covay never lost his passion for music. Friends and collaborators often described his determination to stay creatively involved whenever his health permitted. Although he spent much of his later life away from the spotlight, his influence continued to grow as younger artists rediscovered his songwriting catalog. Many historians now consider him one of soul music's most underrated architects, whose contributions extended far beyond his own recordings. Don Covay passed away on January 31, 2015, at the age of 78. While serious illness dramatically altered the final chapter of his career, it never diminished the extraordinary legacy he left behind. His songs remain essential pieces of American music history, proving that even after illness forced him away from the stage, his creativity continued speaking through generations of artists who performed the timeless music he helped create. Major Lance. Major Lance possessed one of the smoothest voices to emerge from the golden era of Chicago soul. During the 1960s, he became a consistent hitmaker with energetic recordings such as The Monkey Time, and Rhythm. Working closely with legendary producer Curtis Mayfield and the talented songwriting team at OK Records, Lance developed a style that blended infectious dance rhythms with heartfelt vocals. His music earned regular appearances on the Billboard charts, and he became a favorite performer on concert tours across the United States and Europe. Although his commercial success slowed during the 1970s, Lance remained a popular live entertainer, especially among audiences who continued to celebrate classic soul music. He spent years touring internationally, where fans appreciated both his timeless recordings and his warm, charismatic stage presence. Performing remained a central part of his life long after the peak of his chart success. Unfortunately, serious health problems gradually began affecting his ability to continue. Lance battled cardiovascular disease along with complications related to diabetes, illnesses that became increasingly difficult to manage as he grew older. Frequent medical treatment and declining physical strength forced him to reduce his touring schedule. Even so, he remained committed to performing whenever his condition allowed, refusing to let illness completely separate him from the audiences that had supported him for decades. As his health continued to deteriorate, public appearances became increasingly rare. Major Lance passed away on September 3, 1994, at the age of 55 after years of declining health. His passing marked the loss of one of Chicago soul's most recognizable voices. While illness shortened the final chapter of his performing career, it could never erase the joy his music brought to generations of listeners. Today, his recordings continue to represent the vibrant sound of 1960s soul, ensuring that his influence lives on long after the spotlight faded. Angie Stone. Angie Stone built one of the most respected careers in modern R&B through resilience, versatility, and extraordinary talent. Beginning as a member of the pioneering female hip-hop trio, The Sequence, she later reinvented herself as a soulful singer-songwriter whose warm, expressive voice captivated audiences worldwide. Albums such as Black Diamond, Mahogany Soul, and Stone Love produced memorable hits including No More Rain in This Cloud, Wish I Didn't Miss You, and Brother. Her ability to blend classic soul with contemporary R&B established her as one of the genre's most admired performers. In 2007, Stone's career was suddenly interrupted by a devastating highway accident while traveling from a performance in Alabama. The vehicle carrying Stone and members of her band overturned on Interstate 65, leaving her with multiple serious injuries, including a broken collarbone, fractured ribs, and facial injuries. Several members of her touring team were also hurt. Doctors warned that recovery would require months of rehabilitation, forcing Stone to cancel scheduled performances while she focused entirely on healing. For an artist who had built her reputation through constant touring and powerful live vocals, the accident represented one of the greatest challenges of her career. Yet Stone approached rehabilitation with remarkable determination. After months of recovery, she gradually returned to the stage, refusing to allow the injuries to permanently define her future. Although the accident temporarily slowed her career, it also revealed the resilience that had characterized her journey since the beginning. Stone continued recording albums, acting in films and television projects, and performing around the world for many years afterward. Tragically, she passed away in 2025 following a separate automobile accident while traveling after a performance, bringing an end to a remarkable career that had inspired generations of R&B artists. Her story demonstrates how serious injury can interrupt even the most successful careers, but also how determination and perseverance can help an artist continue creating despite overwhelming obstacles. Linda Jones. Linda Jones possessed one of the most emotionally powerful voices of late 1960s soul music. Although her career lasted only a few years, she left an unforgettable impression through passionate recordings such as Hypnotized, What Have I Done to Make You Mad, and Your Precious Love. Her remarkable vocal control and heartfelt delivery earned comparisons to some of the greatest female soul singers of her generation. With each new recording, Jones appeared poised for an even brighter future as her popularity steadily expanded across the United States. Behind her growing success, however, she was quietly battling a serious medical condition. Jones had long struggled with diabetes, a disease that required constant attention but was far more difficult to manage during that era than it is today. Despite recurring health problems, she refused to slow down. Touring schedules, recording sessions, and promotional appearances continued almost non-stop as she worked to establish herself among the leading voices in soul music. The demands of constant travel eventually placed enormous strain on her already fragile health. On March 14, 1972, while preparing for a performance in New York, Jones suddenly collapsed backstage after suffering complications related to diabetes. Despite immediate medical attention, she passed away later that day at only 27 years old. Her sudden death shocked both fans and fellow musicians, ending a career that many believed had only begun to reveal its full potential. Although illness tragically cut her journey short, Linda Jones left behind a catalog of recordings that continues to influence soul and R&B singers decades later. Her emotionally rich performances remain beloved by collectors and music historians who recognize her as one of the genre's finest overlooked talents. Jones's story serves as a heartbreaking reminder that serious illness can change a promising career without warning, yet the emotional power of truly great music can continue touching audiences long after the artist is gone. Gerald Levert. Gerald Levert seemed destined for greatness from the moment he stepped into the music industry. As the son of legendary O.J. singer Eddie Levert, he grew up surrounded by soul music, but he never relied solely on his famous last name. Instead, he built an impressive career through extraordinary talent, becoming one of the defining R&B voices of the late 1980s and 1990s. As the lead vocalist of Levert alongside his brother Sean and friend Mark Gordon, Gerald helped produce chart-topping hits such as Casanova, Baby, I'm Ready, and Pop, Pop, Pop Goes My Mind. His successful solo career brought even greater recognition through songs like I'd Give Anything, Thinking About It, and Mr. Too Damn Good. Whether performing romantic ballads or energetic soul anthems, Levert's rich, powerful voice made him one of the most respected singers of his generation. Behind the scenes, however, Gerald struggled with chronic pain and ongoing health issues that increasingly affected his daily life. To manage severe shoulder pain caused by an old injury, he was prescribed multiple medications, including prescription painkillers. Over time, those medications became an essential part of his treatment, but they also placed tremendous strain on his body. Despite experiencing recurring health problems, Levert remained committed to recording, touring, and supporting younger artists, rarely allowing fans to see how much discomfort he endured away from the spotlight. Tragically, on November 10, 2006, Gerald Levert passed away at only 40 years old. The Cuyahoga County coroner later determined that his death resulted from an accidental combination of prescription medications which caused respiratory failure. There was no evidence of illegal drug use, but the heartbreaking loss highlighted the serious risks associated with multiple prescribed medications taken together. Although his career ended far earlier than anyone expected, Gerald Levert left behind an extraordinary musical legacy. His emotional delivery, songwriting ability, and unmistakable voice continue to influence modern R&B artists. While serious health issues and medical treatment ultimately altered the course of his life, they never overshadowed the remarkable body of work he created. Today, Gerald Levert is remembered not only as one of soul music's finest vocalists, but also as an artist whose passion for music never faded, even while quietly battling physical challenges. Jarreau. Jarreau built one of the most remarkable careers in modern music by refusing to fit into a single genre. Possessing extraordinary vocal flexibility, he effortlessly blended jazz, R&B, soul pop, and scat, singing into a style entirely his own. Throughout a career spanning more than 5 decades, Jarreau earned 7 Grammy Awards in 3 different categories, jazz, pop, and R&B, an achievement few artists have ever matched. Signature recordings such as We're in This Love Together, After All, Moonlighting, and Mornin' showcased not only his remarkable vocal range, but also his unique ability to imitate instruments using nothing but his voice. His concerts became celebrated for their warmth, improvisation, and incredible musicianship. As he entered his 70s, however, Jarreau began facing increasing health challenges. Years of constant touring placed tremendous physical demands on his body, while cardiovascular and respiratory issues gradually became more serious. In 2010, he was hospitalized in France after suffering respiratory complications during a European tour. Although he recovered and returned to performing, doctors encouraged him to reduce his demanding schedule. Jarreau remained determined to continue entertaining audiences, but each tour became physically more difficult than the last. His health continued declining over the following years. In February 2017, after being hospitalized once again for exhaustion, Jarreau made the difficult decision to retire from touring. The announcement saddened fans around the world because live performance had always been the heart of his career. Even after stepping away from the stage, he remained deeply appreciative of the audiences who had supported him for decades. Only a few days after announcing his retirement, Jarreau passed away on February 12, 2017, at the age of 76. While serious illness ultimately brought an end to his performing career, it never diminished his extraordinary influence on American music. His remarkable vocal artistry continues inspiring singers across jazz, R&B, soul, and pop. Jarreau's legacy is defined not by the illnesses he battled during his final years, but by a lifetime of innovation, musical excellence, and unforgettable performances that remain unlike anything else in popular music. Randy Crawford. Randy Crawford possesses one of the most distinctive voices in contemporary soul and jazz, earning international acclaim through her rich tone, emotional phrasing, and remarkable versatility. Emerging during the late 1970s, she captured audiences with timeless recordings, including One Day I'll Fly Away, You Might Need Somebody, Rainy Night in Georgia, and Street Life, her unforgettable collaboration with the Crusaders. While Crawford enjoyed tremendous success throughout Europe, she also became widely respected in the United States for seamlessly blending R&B, jazz, gospel, and adult contemporary music into a sophisticated style that influenced countless vocalists. Unlike many artists whose careers ended abruptly, Crawford's musical journey evolved gradually as health concerns and the physical demands of touring became increasingly challenging. As the years passed, she significantly reduced international concert schedules, choosing fewer live performances while focusing on selective recording projects and collaborations. The decision reflected a desire to preserve both her health and the exceptional vocal quality that had defined her career for decades. Rather than pushing herself through exhausting tours, Crawford prioritized longevity and personal well-being. Even while appearing less frequently on stage, she never disappeared from music. She continued releasing albums, including successful collaborations with legendary pianist Joe Sample, proving that artistic excellence did not depend on relentless touring. Fans welcomed each new recording, appreciating that Crawford remained committed to quality over quantity. Her mature performances demonstrated the same elegance and emotional depth that first established her international reputation. Today, Randy Crawford remains one of the few legendary voices of her generation still living. Although serious health considerations gradually changed the pace of her professional life, they never silenced her artistry. Her influence can still be heard in modern soul, jazz, and R&B singers who admire her effortless phrasing and deeply expressive interpretations. Crawford's story is one of wisdom and endurance rather than tragedy. Instead of allowing physical challenges to define her career, she adapted gracefully, choosing a more sustainable path that preserved both her health and her extraordinary musical legacy. Even with fewer public appearances, her timeless recordings continue introducing new generations to one of the finest voices soul music has ever produced. Every voice on today's list tells a powerful story. Some fought cancer with incredible courage. Others faced devastating injuries or life-changing illnesses that forever altered their careers, yet none of them allowed hardship to erase the legacy they had built through decades of unforgettable music. Their songs continue to inspire, comfort, and unite generations around the world, proving that true greatness is measured not only by success but by resilience. Which artist's journey touched you the most, and whose story do you think deserves even greater recognition? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your perspective. If you enjoyed this tribute, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for Golden Black Legends, where we continue celebrating the remarkable lives, unforgettable voices, and lasting legacies of black music's greatest icons.